Hey guys, I decided to add on an extra video to this project and make it actually persist the data to local storage. So we're going to use the ES6 version with classes, and what I want to do is create an extra store class to use to push to local storage, to fetch and remove stuff from local storage. And we're going to make all the classes static, meaning that we don't have to instantiate the store class, we can just use it directly. So we're going to go down right below the UI class, which ends right here. And let's say local storage class, and we're going to give it a name of store. And we're going to have a method called display books, which will take care of displaying the books in the UI. We're also going to have add book, which will add to local storage. Now, display books will take care of displaying them, but we're also going to have one called get books, which is going to take care of fetching them from local storage. All right, because we're going to have to fetch them from local storage for just about all of these methods, and I don't want to repeat ourselves, so we're just going to have one method to do that. Okay, then we'll have remove book. All right, now I want to make all of these static, so I'm going to put the static keyword in front of them all. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is the add book. All right, because when we submit something here, you'll see it gets added, but if I reload, it's going to go away. So what we're going to do is when we add it, which if we go down here into our book form submit event listener, and we call it, let's see, we create the book here, and then we add it to the UI right here. You can see add book to list. So what we're going to do is go right under that, and we're going to say add to local storage. So we're going to call store. We don't need to instantiate it since this is going to be a static method, and we're going to call add book and then pass in book. All right, so now let's go up here to add book, and we're going to have to first get the books from local storage. So to do that, we could put it here, but like I said, I want to have a method to do that for us because we're going to have to do that in these other methods as well. So right up here, we're going to initialize a variable called books, a local variable, and then we're going to check local storage. So we're going to say if local storage dot get item, and item is going to be called books. We're going to say if it's equal to null, that means it's not there. So let's say let books equals an empty array. Else, then books, I'm sorry, I shouldn't write let here. Then books is going to equal local storage dot get item books. Now this is going to be, we need this to be a JavaScript object, so we need to run this through the JSON dot parse function. So we're going to wrap that in that, and then we just need to simply return books. So now whenever we want to get whatever's in local storage, we can just use this get books. So let's go back down to add book, and we're going to say const books. I'm using const because this isn't going to change. We're not going to reassign it in any way. So let's say store dot get books. We're using the actual class name because it's a static method. We don't have to instantiate it or anything. And then we're just going to take that books and we're going to push onto it. So we're going to push onto it, and this should actually take in a book parameter. and that's what we want to push onto it. All right, and then we just want to set local storage again with that new books. So we'll say local storage dot set item. We want to set it as books, and we want to set the books array, but we need to run it through JSON.stringify in order to store it in local storage. All right, so let's save that, and now let's try this out. So we'll say we'll say book 1. John Doe is the author, and then some number here what did I do? I cleared it out. All right, submit. Okay, so it gets submitted, and let's reload. So it's not going to show here yet, but let's check local storage by going to application in our DevTools, and you can see we now have books, and we have that object inside of an array. Okay, it's a stringified JSON array. All right, so now what we want to do is display that inside of the UI. So that's where display books comes in. So for display books, what we're going to do is first we're going to get the books. We're going to do it just like we did here using the getBooks method. You can see how that method prevents us from having to repeat ourselves. And then we're going to loop through the books with for each. And inside here, we'll put our callback, and we'll say book. Now what we need to do after we get the books is put it into the UI. And remember, we have a class called UI that has a method called add book to list. So we can simply instantiate that class, and then we can add book to UI by saying UI dot add book to list, and then pass in the book. Okay, so now we created this display books, but it's not being called. So what I'm going to do is go down below the class, and right above this event listener, I'm going to create another one, and this is going to be on the DOM load event. So we're going to say document dot add event listener, and we want to say when the DOM content is loaded, then we want to call the function store dot display books. Oh, we don't need parentheses. All right, so let's save. Books.forEach is not a function. Let's check that out. So const books, whoops, that's the wrong one. Const books equals store.getBooks. And we just forgot the uppercase E here. All right, so we save, and now we get book 1, John Doe. So let's add another book. And submit. So now we have book 2, and if I go ahead and reload, book 2 is still there because it persisted to local storage. So now let's do the remove, because if I remove a book, you see it in the UI, it goes away, but once I reload, it's still there. So we need to add to this method here, remove book. Now this is a little tricky because, again, just like with the task list project we don't have IDs or anything like that. So we need to use something that's going to be unique, and I'm going to use the ISBN. Now to get this, if we go down to where we actually add a book to the UI, which is not add a book, remove a book, which is right here, UI delete book. Now all they're doing here is passing in the target, and then inside the UI delete book, if we look up here, they're passing in the target, making sure the class equals delete, and then they're deleting the parent of the parent, which will be the LI. Because when we click this, it's going to be the icon, the parent will be the A tag, and then the parent of that will be the LI, and then they're removing that from the DOM. So we need to do something a little different here. what I want to pass in, if we go down here to where we delete the book, which is right here, let's say remove from local storage. So we're going to say store dot remove book, and I want to get this ISBN number. So we need to do a little bit of DOM magic here. So we're going to take the e.target, which is going to be the icon that's clicked on here, and we want to get the parent element. Okay, now the parent element of the icon is going to be the A tag that wraps this icon. Now, what we want to do, actually, let's take a look at this real quick. So the target is going to be, the target is going to be the A tag. Because we didn't use font awesome here, it's just an X inside here, which is just a text node. So the target is actually the A tag. So we're going to get the parent, which is the TD. Okay, so if we leave this as is, this gives us this TD. Now we want the ISBN, which is going to be this here. So with vanilla JavaScript, we can use the previous element sibling method to get this. Okay, because this is it's a sibling of this TD, but it's the previous one. And then we don't want just the element itself, we want what's inside of it, which we can use text content to get that. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. So we're going to say dot previous element sibling, and then we want to call text content, and that should actually give us the ISBN number. So let's check that out and see if that works. So we'll go up here and pass in ISBN, and let's go ahead and console.log ISBN and save, and let's go to our console and then go down here and click one of these, and there it is. Okay, it removes it from the UI because we already have that functionality, but if I reload, it's back. But you can see we're getting the ISBN. So now to remove it is going to be pretty simple. What we can do is loop through. So first of all, we're going to get the books from local storage using this method, and then we'll loop through just like we did right here. Okay, but we don't want this stuff here because we're not adding. What we want to do is do an if statement, and we want to see if the books dot, book, which is being passed in here, if that's ISBN is equal to the ISBN that's being passed into the method here, then we know that's the one we want to delete. So we're going to say books, which is that our entire array, and we want to splice out the index, which can be passed into a for each callback like that. So we can say index, we want to remove 1. All right, and then we just want to go down here after the for each, and we want to just set local storage again, just like we did right here. So I'm just going to copy that. All right, and that should do it. So let's save, and now let's go to book 2 and get rid of it. Whoops, I put an M somewhere right here. It should be an N. All right, so let's try that again. Reload, click that, goes away, and remove. Good. Let's click book 1, delete, reload, and it's gone. All right, so we now have full functionality with local storage. So it's not just a UI application. Now, a little challenge you might want to do is take the ES5 version of this, where we used the prototype methods, and try to add local storage there. Now that you see how this works, how we can add and remove stuff from local storage, you might want to do that as kind of an extra activity. All right, so thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next section.